Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol Lawson. If this is your first time here, we want to welcome you. If you're an organizational leader or manager in church-based ministry, in business, in academia, then you're definitely in the right place. In addition to hosting the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast, I also offer one-to-one and group coaching for leaders and leadership teams that want to improve their effectiveness and become more productive and increase their performance. Inspirational, entertaining, and engaging keynote talks that will help shift the mindset of your leaders and bring about the organizational culture that you really desire. For more information or to book a free, no obligation consultation to see whether we're the right fit for each other, simply drop me an email today at errol@errollawson.com, and I'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you for listening. Enjoy today's show. Welcome again to the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol Lawson, and my special guest today is Tommy Xpensive Moutchi. Tommy's a young 22-year-old multi-talented actor, writer, performer, comedian. He's featured in a few things. He's featured in Ventriloquist Love in 2015, Raison D'etre in 2015, and Balance in 2014. Over the last few months, Tommy has rapidly become a household name amongst the under 25 UK demographic. Within the last year, Tom's social media profiles, Facebook, Instagram, and Vine have received a large amount of attention due to the short comedic videos he posts featuring himself and his regular team of actors. Tommy, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, how you doing, Errol?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. So before we go into our interview today, please take a few moments to fill in any gaps in your bio right there, and then give us a glimpse into what you're up to in the world right now.
Right now, what that bio doesn't say is that I stopped the videos in January 2016, and I've been at drama school, identity drama school, for a couple months now. Wow. And the crazy thing is, we just announced that we'll be making the videos again next year, so we released a promo video yesterday.
Brilliant.
So that's what I've been up to, really.
Wow. So where did it all start for you? Like, how did you get into this world of drama, acting, and how did it start? Tell us that story.
Well, I don't know. I was going around in circles in my life. Like, I wanted to be an accountant. I wanted to play football, and I went to 2 different colleges. I failed so many times. Like, I did A levels, I failed. I just wasn't focused, and I don't know what happened. I think Instagram just had a video update, and I just thought, you know what? Let me just post something, and then it started off like, I remember I got my first 100 likes. I think that was like the click for me. I was like, this is obviously, it's nothing online, but this is 100 people. What if I start doing something productive on here? So I thought, you know what? Something in my heart is telling me that I wanna try acting, but I just don't know where to go. So I Googled how to be an actor, and it said you need an agent, you need a show reel. So a show reel is like essentially your CV. So it has all the films you've done, and I have no experience. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go on Instagram. I'm gonna do funny videos. I'm gonna do whatever I can, and that's gonna be my show reel. Do you get what I mean?
Wow.
And as I started doing it, I mean, at first, I had to. It was hard. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I had to learn how to edit on mobile. I had to, do some research, but it's like every step of the way, it's like there was just a hand holding me, and it's like I sped through everything.
Wow.
And that speeding essentially is favor, which is something I had to learn. So
wow, that's great, man. That is brilliant. I know we met at the House of Lords recently for the TF Fund event, and the whole kind of topic there was around the future of the church and what have you. What role has your faith played in your journey up to now?
Oh wow, it's really crazy because it did so much. So essentially, I wanted to do actuarial science in uni.
Mm-hmm.
And so I signed up. I did my UCAS. I did my personal statement. I applied. I got in to a uni in Canterbury.
Mm-hmm.
And then I traveled to Canada with my parents. And
Mm-hmm.
I went on a long journey with a random uncle. Like I've never met this uncle, but apparently he was my uncle.
Wow.
And he just asked me like, do you know Jesus Christ? And I was like, well, I know him, but I don't think he knows me. Like, he knows me, but I don't think I know him. And every time I sin, I kind of run away from him. So he just enlightened me. He was like, that's not what Jesus is about. And it's more believing in him that will gain you salvation, not this dictatorship of you sin and that's what the devil made me believe. And he gave me so much insight. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do actuarial science. I want to act.
Wow.
So I don't know that, and I feel like that's what Jesus was telling me. So I prayed, and when I came back to London, I told my parents I want to do drama. So I changed my personal statement. Only one uni accepted me randomly to do drama. My dad gave me this one warning. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I don't want you to do drama, but since you've chose it, I have to follow your decision. But if you drop out, don't consider me your dad anymore. So this is an African dad, isn't it? So I said, cool. I went to drama. I went to uni in Canterbury Christchurch. It was horrible. Like, they were teaching me how to become a drama teacher, not essentially how to act. So I don't even have to tell you what I did. I dropped out. And at the same time, my numbers online were like on, let's say, 10,000 on like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was kind of popular, but I just wasn't, making money from it or anything. But I just said to myself, you know what? I don't know. I'm going to tell my dad. I'm just going to carry on with these videos and see where it takes me. So at this time, I've dropped out in uni. I'm just finishing off my housing in uni, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I come back home in summer. Obviously, my parents think I've come back for holiday.
Mm.
But it comes to like September, October, I'm still in the house. And they clocked that I dropped out. So they kicked me out of the house.
Mm.
And I remember at the time I prayed to God and he told me 5 things. He said, you will be the pillar of your family. I will make you rich, famous, and influential. Don't do anything to tarnish your name. And keep yourself happy. Because at the time I used to, I don't know if anyone does this, but I think myself into sadness. It's a weird thing. I was trapped in that. So one of the things he said was, you will be the pillar of your family. And then my parents just kicked me out of the house. So I was just like, what is going on here? Do you know what I'm saying? During that time, my numbers were like on 20,000. So at this time, I've got an agent. I've got an acting agent. I've had a short film on Channel 4 off the back of doing videos. I told the agent I have no show reel. All I have is these videos, and he signed me. And I was praying at this time, and the thing is, as I was praying, things were happening. So I was like, wow, this God thing is really working out. Like, this is real. Like, well, how come no one knows about Jesus Christ? Do you know what I mean? So my parents had kicked me out, and I moved in with my cousin and his mum, which they live 30 seconds away from my actual house, like where my dad lived. And literally, me and my cousin started like constantly doing these videos every single day. We released like 2 a day. And my numbers were just rising, 30K, 40K, 50K. Celebrities are now in your videos like will.i.am, Omarion, Chipmunk. And, brands want to work with you, and you're getting paid to wear clothes, and they just want you to put their bottle in your video. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And
wow.
throughout this whole thing, I realized that. So I was growing in influence. So there's certain things I didn't say, because I realized that I kind of had the key to the youth. So anything I said or did, these kids were going to do as well. So that kind of, remember what God told me, don't do anything to tarnish your name?
Yeah.
So I started watching while I was tweeting. I started, like, I didn't want to be out at parties or getting drunk or anything like that. Like, in terms of like girls, like I didn't want to do the whole promiscuous thing. I wanted to find someone, so I went celibate.
Wow.
I was just focusing on him. And fast forward it, 2015. Remember, I was still out of the house. So as much as all these things are going well at home, nothing's going well with my parents. And my mum got lung cancer. So that tragic news kind of was my way back into the house. But I was so used to being outside and busy every day and doing all this Tommy Xpensive stuff. So even when they let me back in, I was always out, never in. And I was at a show once. I was hosting a show, and one of my brothers that I live with now, he called me saying, there's this guy I'm with right now who's been dreaming about you for 2 weeks. So I'm just like, what? Who's dreaming about me? Look, I just came off the show. I need to go back on. Like, what's going on? So the guy comes on the phone. He goes, hey, brother, I really love your work, and can we pray? Type of thing. So I just said, cool, let's pray. So we were praying, and he said that he can see me hugging my mum. That completely got my attention. So I was like, well, then he goes, well, what does that mean? Does that mean you have a good relationship with your mum? I was like, no, like, I have a very rocky relationship. Then he says God told him that your mum is suffering and she needs you the most now. And for a stranger to come and tell me that, and me not being sensitive to the fact that my mum had cancer, because I was always out. I was like, they rejected me, so I'm just going to go out and just be me and do what I think God has called me to do. So that really humbled me. So as soon as I finished the show, I said thank you to the guy on the phone. I ran home. As soon as I got home, I just went straight to my mum. We ironed out our problems, and, you know, it just lifted a big weight over both of our heads. And I just started seeing how she was just deteriorating, and like, it was just, it was nuts. And at the same time, I was doing these videos, and then I was at home, and I'm on like 70K now. On like, at that time I was on like 70K, and I was getting 10,000 likes a post. So fast forward, she passed away June 30th, 2015, and like that was just a rocky moment. We went to Ivory Coast to bury her, but there was family feuds, and I couldn't even see where she was buried. And there was like some spiritual witchcraft stuff happening there. Like, Jesus was with me the whole time, spiritual covering. I was doing prayers from London to Ivory Coast, and at that time I was really at the same time, when I was out in Ivory Coast, I was still making videos. So people would have never known this. And throughout this whole period of Tommy Xpensive, I remember I started because I wanted to act, but I wasn't in TV shows. My agent wasn't strong enough to be getting me these big roles. So I was feeling like I feel like the season for Tommy Xpensive was just done. And I was feeling this. Like, I remember I really wanted the Adidas sponsorship, and it just, those doors just wasn't opening. So I was like, how long am I going to keep doing this online thing? And the real industry doesn't respect it. And so we came back to London. I mean, I have all these thoughts in my head. We come back to London. My dad, because of the family feud back home, my dad said he wants me to cut off everyone on my mum's side of the family. Oh, wow. And remember, I moved in with my cousin after he kicked me out. Yeah. and he's on his side. He's on my mum's side of the family.
Oh, wow.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? And they took me in. So I said, I said I couldn't do that. And he kicked me out again.
That is amazing.
So being out, it's forced me to get my own place. I had to find a job. And at the same time, remember I said I felt like the Tommy Xpensive thing was done. And I have a brother called Paul Payne who randomly came to me and said, "Hey, brother, I feel like the Tommy Xpensive season is done. I feel like you should stop. You should go to drama school, and everything you've learned, you should teach it to people, and you know, like charge for it, because it's a very good skill. It doesn't mean you should stop the comedy in total, but I feel like you want to be an actor." And he compared it to John the Baptist and Jesus, and how John the Baptist was the forerunner and he came before Christ and he laid all the foundations. And he kept saying the promise was coming. And then when Jesus came, the actual promise, John the Baptist he died. Well, not had to die, but they didn't exist and did the work together, if you get what I mean. And he said Tommy Xpensive was my John the Baptist. And the promise is Tom Moutchi, the actor that I'm supposed to be.
Wow. And
at the time, when I spoke to Lord Hastings about everything. Lord Hastings is my mentor.
Yeah.
He said he'll fund my school, my drama school. So I just said, you know what? I went online, I announced it. I said, I'm gonna stop the videos. I'm gonna focus on my craft. And it was like everyone was crushed, and everyone's like, "You are at the pinnacle. You are at the top of why did you stop?" And
wow.
And at the end of the day, I had to follow. I know that was Jesus telling me that.
Wow.
And I had to follow it. He's the one that took me here. So if he's telling me to go somewhere else, then who am I to say no? And that's where I am now.
Are you seriously fired up about growing as a leader in business or church-based ministry? Are you feeling somewhat frustrated about not having realized your full potential in what you've been called to do? Could you do with someone to help you get some extra clarity or to be a sounding board for your plans and ideas? Great athletes have coaches, so do great leaders. The right leadership coach for you will result in an increased sense of clarity, direction, and purpose, dramatically increasing the results you achieve. If you're ready to step up, contact Errol to book a free, no-obligation, introductory coaching session and see whether Errol is the right coach for you. Errol takes the lessons learned from his own leadership journey and from his extensive research to help leaders and entrepreneurs to step into their biggest challenges and rise to their next level. Email admin@errollawson.com right now to schedule your call.
And so, you tell us a bit more about sort of what's been happening. You've been at drama school, and what's that been like? What's been happening there?
Drama school has been probably one of the best things for me this year, because we have this practitioner who teaches the concept of you are enough. Like, if you go into an audition, whatever you give, you are enough. Like, you can never judge your own work and really speak in the words. Like, I'm really learning core values of acting, and I've met some amazing people. And throughout this whole period, me and my friends who I used to do the videos with, we wrote a film. Me and my other mentor called Bola Agbaje, she's a writer. We've written a film that we're gonna film in Ghana next year. We've written a sketch show for YouTube that's relaunching next year. So it's like it's like a bigger comeback. It was like essentially like Jesus said, like, go and be a seed type of thing. So when the seed is in the ground, it's dark, it's alone, there's no one there. Everyone thinks that the seed is like dead, but it's just growing its roots. And I feel like that's what I was doing. I was just trying to get stronger roots, and so that when I do sprout, like, I'm ready and strong.
That's great. That's phenomenal, man. Yeah. That's phenomenal. That's really good. Challenges. Let's talk a bit about some. I mean, you shared a few of the challenges. There's been plenty. What's been your biggest challenge so far?
Do Do you know what? Honestly, it's been a few things. One is staying away from girls and being distracted. Like, as a young man, as much as I'm doing these things, I'm in the public eye, and there's just like loads of young girls that are just they don't have a clue about trying to be kingdom or marriage. They just want to, have sex and just. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
And that's the cross, isn't it? That's the cross that we carry as men. Any man that's got responsibility or authority or power is going to attract women. Whoever that man is, and that's a cross for us to carry, I believe, as leaders. Can relate to that.
Yeah, it's hard because I fell a few times, 100%. Yeah. But I feel like I had to learn from those falls, so I can't fall like that again. But yeah, that's going better now. Stuff like, but then if you don't have sex, then another problem that arises is like masturbation and lust, and then I had to get over that hump, and that just took discipline and prayer, to be honest. Another difficulty, as much as you're doing these things, it's so easy to get pulled into the world, if that kind of makes sense. Like this, even like right now, I want to head towards Hollywood. I know myself, if I didn't go through all these things that I went through, even in Ivory Coast, and my parents kicking me out, making me independent. Imagine my breakthrough came like 2 years ago. I think I would have just been wild. And, like, I understand what seasons are. Like, when you go through this, you learn how to, let's say, manage your money, because God knows in the future you're going to get this amount of money, and you will know how to handle it when you get there. But if I didn't go through that, stuff like that. One of my challenges now that I'm going through is not timekeeping, but putting time aside for the important things, like keeping up, make sure you're seeing family, reading the Bible more. Like, that's some stuff that I need to proper plan my time, because reading the Bible is very important. I've ignored it a while now, and it's very important. It's like our sword on this planet. Yeah, those are kind of my struggles.
It's great, man. It's great. And thank you for being so transparent. I know people listening right now. There's going to be young people listening. There's going to be other older leaders listening and gaining wisdom and insight from you being open. That's really, really helpful, man. Let's talk about mentors. Like, who have been your top 3 mentors? I know you mentioned Lord Hastings and somebody else.
I have 3 mentors. So my first mentor was Paul Payne. Okay. He was a facilitator for Lord Hastings, and essentially he's an investor. Like, right now he's in Ghana with his wife. His wife got a job out there, and essentially what he taught me was like a whole new version of Christ that I would have never known. He taught me the concept of 7 mountains of influence, like entertainment, business, finance, faith, education, and how, there's in our world, you can do things chronologically, or you can do it through God's time, which is called Kairos. So, like, people that are up there right now, for example, in the mountain of entertainment, let's say Kevin Hart, right? Chronologically, he worked hard to get where he got to. Like, let's say he went to drama school, he came out, he met this producer. Like, it was chronological. But if you do that with the faith of God and like you're growing in God, there's something called God's time, which makes it like it's for example, Joseph in the Bible, who just went from a slave to prime minister, which still doesn't make any sense. And he said he believes, like, the church is obviously like Jesus like gets married to the church is his bride, but essentially there's certain people that have certain roles in society in terms of like what they've got to do for the kingdom, and not everyone's going to be in church. So the places that God places you, you're going to win souls there. So he's like, our aim is to get on top of our mountain. So the people up there, the people that are controlling the world, the big people, the owners of Virgin, the owners of this, if we're in those places, we can make a bigger change. So I was just like, oh, rah, kingdom, and, you know, being a king, and like, because essentially we like, this is like, God gave us dominion over the earth. So we are kings. Like, that's literally how I see it. And I remember there was someone got like a vision one time. He said, I was talking and they said, oh, God is like, I'm seeing like, you know, Coming to America, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
He said, I can see you in that outfit. And he feels like God is telling him that you're a prince. No matter what room you go into, you may be dressed like everyone else, but you're a prince. Just remember that. And I've held that in with me because I feel like every room I go to, like, Jesus is here with me. There's no door I can't enter. Like, my God is like the Most High. That's literally how I see it. So that's what Paul introduced me to, and it really, he really started, like, he had this whole system of accountability. So we used to meet every month. How's this month been? What have you been suffering? How can we help you? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's great.
So
it's the power of mentorship, right?
Yeah,
Relationship.
So like what a pastor would do to his the people in his church and stuff, basically like that. And then Lord Hastings, who is a man of influence and affluence, and he's just blessed me in so many ways, from paying to my school, from listening to me, from, you know, being there when my mum passed away, and, you know, he's just and he's got so much wisdom. And yeah, he's really been there for me, considering for a man that is so busy. Like, if I text him now, he will respond, and that just, he's got many crowns in heaven, man. 100%. And then my third mentor is a writer called Bola Barjay. She's a Laurence Olivier winner. She did a film called Gone Too Far that was in cinemas, and like, she's pretty big. So she's more on the entertainment side of things. So she's teaching me how to write and guide me through my acting, my theatre. We've done many things together. Like, do you remember when Paul, like I said, Paul told me he feels like I should stop and teach people how to do videos? Do you remember that?
Paul Payne, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Bola is very good friends with the BFI.
Okay.
She put in an application for a fund where I'm going to teach 18 to 25-year-olds how to make films on smartphones.
Wow. And
it got funded in September, and we start teaching them on the 26th of this month.
Wow.
And Paul said that he said that like a year and a half ago. So, like, how could I not say that Jesus is the orchestrator of this type of thing? And yeah, that's my mentors.
That's amazing. And what's the most significant piece of advice you've gotten from those guys? Let's say from Lord Hastings and from Bola. You shared some stuff about Paul.
One thing you know how you said I was open, and that's how I tend to live my life. I believe, like, once you meet me, like, I don't have that whole thing of, oh, I'm gonna guard myself. Like, I just don't do that no more. And being in the public eye and being like that is very dangerous, because a lot of people can exploit you. Even girls, and talking to girls, like, I'm very open. So I've gone through, like, I'm telling you, I'm a hopeless romantic, 100%. That's just me. Through all the girl problems I've had, like being hurt and stuff, like, I remember talking to Lord Hastings, and he was like, you need to understand that you are a catch. like a fisherman will be happy to have caught you, type of thing. Like, so you need to guard yourself and understand your worth.
That's great.
So
brilliant.
That made me step back and analyze, like, not that like I'm putting girls through like a regime, but anyone in my life that is coming in, I think now I'm just praying over them. Like, this girl recently came into my life, and you know, it was really quick, and like we started kissing already, like, and stuff like that. And I didn't want to do the, you know, when you pray like for God's will over a situation, I was scared to do that because I liked her and I didn't want God to throw her away. But the Holy Spirit was telling me inside, this is not who you're going to marry. So I eventually manned up and did the prayer. But I said to him, I don't know how I'm going to tell this girl that she's not the one for me, because it's just, how do you say that to someone? Do you know how God turned around and did this? It's so funny. You know, the girl ends up telling me she feels like there's nothing she can bring to my life.
Wow.
She just randomly said it. She just said, we're in two different places. You got so much going for you. I feel like I'll be a setback. And I guess thoughts about it. I'm like, God, sometimes like God's brain, the way he works just isn't normal.
Wow.
And yeah, and Bola Abaje, what's the best advice she gave me? Patient. She just told me to be patient, because there's so much people my age that are in big films, and she's like, you started 2 years ago. These people have been doing it for 10 years. Like, and I don't know, that's one thing I'm battling as well, which is impatience. I want to get there. I want to be in these films. I know I can do it. I'm tired of training at school. I just want to get the experience and get into actual films. And she teaches me patience and how it works. She brings me, like, she brought me to the London Film Festival. I was like bumping heads with like David Oyelowo and like huge stars, and like, she shows me that world, and she's like, this is not too far. Like, it's just time and patience. So yeah, that's what she taught me. Hello?
Awesome. Wow, we're almost done right now, right? Thank you for sharing that. What's the one thing you're most fired up about right now?
Fired up about?
Yeah, what's really kind of...
As in excited?
Yeah, to do or to be a part of, or in your world.
But I think the return of these sketches, but like when we were mainly on Instagram and Vine, but now we're moving to a whole new platform of YouTube, like properly. And there's going to be a lot of people backing it. And I'm kind of fired up for next year in terms of what the possibility of things we're going to do, and how I know that it's going to be a good year, because the devil does this thing to me where he just throws doubt in my head. Even since the beginning of Tommy Xpensive, there was always doubt. There was, what if nobody sees this post? What if this is not funny? Like, and I'm being flooded with so much doubts right now and God wouldn't throw doubts at you. Like, he's either you shouldn't do this or you should do this. Do you know what I'm trying to say? God wouldn't throw bad stuff at you. So I know it's him, and I know that he wouldn't say that if next year isn't going to be amazing. So we're coming back with a big bang, and I know the world is going to love this. And
great. Well, we're looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to it. Last question. Is there like a book or a resource that you recommend for another leader or emerging leader or entrepreneur that's coming through that you've read that will inspire them?
There was this book that Lord Hastings gave me, and it's written by J. John. It's called Just 10.
Okay.
And it's basically the 10 commandments, but in our modern lives. because you know that obviously the ones in the Bible were written for that time, but it's timeless. Like we can use it as well, but it's really adapted, and it's really like there's even like it's all online as well. Like the actual writer, he's a pastor. He actually explains it. Like it is amazing, and it will just open up your eyes. And yeah, so J. John just 10.
Awesome. And we'll have that in the show notes for you guys listening. If you check out the webpage here, you'll see all the different links here to Tommy. Tommy, how do we get in touch with you via social media? What platforms are you on?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and it's just Tom_Moutchi, which is Moutchi. Yep.
Awesome. All right. Guys, go check out Tom. There's big things happening 2017. Thank you so much for your time today, bro. Really, really appreciate your... I'd love to do this again, you know. We're praying for you. We're praying and believing God that He'll perfect what He started in your life, that He will establish you according to His word and His purpose and His plans for your life. And His word will not return void in your life, man. We pray and we believe God for you. That great things are happening for you this year, next year, beyond. In Jesus' name, man.
Amen.
Name. God bless you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us today on the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast. I pray you've been inspired, you've been lifted, you've been encouraged to take your personal leadership to the next level. We really encourage you guys to just take action, make it happen, do something, start somewhere, go out and change the world in some way, big or small. Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, please share with your friends, share with your loved ones, your colleagues, someone out there you think might benefit from hearing this great content. And if you want some more questions answering, you got a question, email me, Errol@errollawson.com. Or if you want a free 30 to 45 minute coaching session with myself around the leadership challenge or issue you're working on in your business, your church, or in your organization, please feel free to email me right away. We'll get you booked in. It's Errol@errollawson.com. Thank you again for listening. Go to our iTunes page, check it out, check out the previous episodes. Give us a nice review. That would be awesome. Really appreciate if you could do that for us. We really appreciate you just for being here and listening. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Rising Generation.